If you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm gonna try to take everything away from you. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished.
Originally going under the pen name Altered, ShenComix's is widely known for his simplistic art style and relatability in his comics. And his comics have spread all across the internet, but he mainly posts on Webtoons, GoComics, and Twitter. Along with his success, he also has some merch here or there. However, what happened 2 years ago completely changed him as a person. However, the full story hasn't been told yet. And so this is the tale of ShenComix's and how he escaped Mockery. But you can't escape this sponsor, Skillshare, which is a fantastic online learning community with over 25,000 classes in business, design, art, animation, and many more other things. And there's a class for every person. Such as Ira Marks with All About How to Draw Comics, A Beginner's Guide.
And I've learned a lot along the way. And now I want to help other artists who are curious about making their own comics start their journey.
But if that's not your cup of cups, well then Christopher Hastings has a class all about how to create action comics.
I'm also the writer of the Adventure Time comic series, and I've written a bunch of Deadpool stuff for Marvel. All in all, I've been working on comics for nearly 10 years. I'm reading this text directly off a computer monitor.
And that's quite neat. But what's neat even more so is when you click this link, anyone can get 2 free whole rambunctious months of Skillshare Premium, so you can get access to a lot of these cool classes and learn. And with an annual subscription of less than $10 a month, it's the most affordable service in the classification of class rankings. However, me personally am not gonna teach anything, as I'm really going to be talking about something that happened a long time ago, which is like a history teacher. Oh, and at the very end of the video, which you should stay tuned for, I get to announce who won the XP Pen contest from last month. On November the 12th in 2017, while living in Los Angeles, Shen's bike got stolen when he was doing things not associated with the bike. So later that night, he got to work on a comic to ease his stress, and he wanted to post something uplifting to the internet. And despite a notable cause, the reaction that he got was unexpected, to say the least. The very next day, Shen posted his bike-related comic on Twitter, and right away it was posted on a subreddit whose original URL got banned, and later found its way over to 4chan's message boards. And around this time, Shen actually liked some of the edits of the memes, because some of them were actually quite creative in their twist of the joke. Then on November 14th, this user made a very special edit to Shen's bike comic, thus transforming Shen at the time to be called, Hey, Bike Man. Person. Things got worse for Shen as a screenshot appeared around late November 14th, early November 15th of him saying, Hey, stop calling me Bike Man. What is peculiar about this is the fact that whenever you see a YouTube video or Twitter posts mentioning it, they use this very exact screenshot. Then of course, it didn't help at the time that when this tweet got spread, it soon got stitched together with this Tumblr post that, whenever you search up the meme, hey, ho, there it is, go. And that happened on November 15th. 3 days later, Shen decides to take a break from his comic. Now this is noting that the comic was not the main reason for him leaving, but with all that was happening to him during his life at that point, it was just the final straw that broke the artist's hand. However, during the following day, Shen came back to reiterate a couple things, and clear up some of the misconceptions. And so during this time, he took a small break, reflected, slowly came back to making comics. It took a lot out of him to do that, and it also took a lot for him to come back. So, knowing all that, well, happened, is there anything we can do to avoid this for next time? I'm not saying it'll be him next time. I mean, if there's like an artist out there watching this video that might be going through something, he'd be like, hey, this section may be for you. Now, the people who joked upon Shen all have different motivations. And to say that all of them directly wanted to do mean, malicey stuff to him is assuming, and you shouldn't do that. If you happen to make a comic, art piece, or something else art related, be sure to look out for certain types of people. The first group consists of people just making jokes for likes and retweets, and everything in between. And the second group of people are people who actually hate you and want to see you go away. Lastly, there's a group of people who are just making jokes to themselves or perhaps just their friends. This isn't to say that these groups can't mix, or perhaps there's other groups that I'm not thinking about, but acknowledging that not everyone's out to get you because of something you made, unless you made something really bad. Which leads into the first step. Take a small break, and or talk to someone close about the situation and what you might need to do going forward. The first 24 to 48 hours are the prime time for jokes spread across the internet and edits of the original content, and considering the most popular ones will probably haunt you forever, this is probably not the best time to make an immediate response. Depending on the type of day, you might want to just go do something else, or perhaps get some sleep. However, the last thing or things that I just said kind of get muddled, depending on people's reactions. Let's rewind to before Shen even made the comic. Around that time, he was living in Los Angeles when, late at night, a bike got stolen. Unless there was a tracker on that bike, or you saw someone actually stealing it. So instead of getting too heated and just being all downy about what happened, he decided, hey, I'm gonna make a comic about my experiences. And despite him not getting his bike back, he now sells it as a print on his website, and that's great. Sometimes you'll go through things in your life that you can't control, and you just do what you think is best, and perfectly fine to do what you need to do, as not only may it help you, but also perhaps others who saw what you created. However, in the case of Shen, you must remember that in situations like this, the people that hate you might try to bring you down further, and sometimes all you can do in that situation is move on and learn from your mistakes. I mean, I used to trace heavily back in the day, and talking with friends, I got out that habit. And with all the knowledge that I've accumulated, I'm the Sherlock Holmes of the tracer variety.
That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time.
Now, this isn't a definitive guide in how to process being joked upon, as it all depends on the contents that you made as well as the reaction that people got from it. And with that, Shen was almost put in a situation where he became lost and was in the midst of being known solely as, hey, wasn't that the bike guy? And with over 2 years of the situation passing, he's had time to reflect and think about what happened.
Well, it was kind of like I kind of thought that my career, like as a comic artist, was over, and I would be just kind of like the next Tim Buckley, in the sense that I would have this comic like be the primary thing that I'm ever known for. It was kind of like very panic-inducing, since obviously like comics is a thing that I've been working towards since 6 years already. So sophomore year in college. So that, I mean, that kind of sucked. Like, that feeling kind of sucked. After I posted the Bike comic, I kind of did both the wrong thing and the right thing, right? Which was the wrong thing was that I sort of panicked and I went on this big like tangent about how much I hate people who like harass artists on Twitter and stuff. I wasn't saying anything that I considered then or consider now to be untrue. But I probably didn't say it at the right time or in the right way because I wasn't in the right state of mind. The thing that I think I did right was the net neutrality parody, which kind of shows, right, like it's not strictly internal to me. It's something that I can sort of appreciate and use, and I can sort of like appreciate the absurdity of it. And that one, I mean, that's the thing that I did right. And I guess that would have been, I probably wouldn't have done the wrong thing if I had just gotten offline for a bit immediately and just sort of like taken a breath, you know, went for a run, which I did, but afterwards slept on it for maybe even a few days, right? And still produced comics, not necessarily putting stuff out there, because if you post something else right after you post something like that, then people in the mentions will be like still whiling out. So yeah, that's probably what I would have done differently, is I would have just hopped offline immediately. You know, there's no need to make like a hasty response or anything like that. I don't know, gradually it just sort of dawned on me that it's not that big of a deal. Even the worst case scenario of this, even like, hey, what if I become like the next Tim Buckley, and if I'm only ever known for this one comic? It's just web comics. You know, it's just web comics on the internet. And it's always nice to get like positive attention, and it's always nice to like be taken seriously as an artist, but my main goal, even beyond those things, is just to entertain people. That's sort of what I decided to focus on from that point forward. Alright, so my advice for anybody like looking to get into comics would be to keep on trucking, and to just know that you know, there's nothing really stopping you from making comics, and nobody can stop you from making comics. So try your hand at it. It's extremely accessible, and the community is very good.
Overall, this video isn't to tell people, hey, stop making jokes. I mean, because no matter what, people still will. However, this is a video for the people who will be affected, as Shen wasn't the first person, and he surely wasn't the last person to be bike thefted. But speaking of first, and not last, video, we need to announce the winner of the XP Pen contest from my last video. Everyone had the same prompt to drawing Fred Flintstone on Twitter, and following me on Twitter and XP Pen, adding "everyone is creative" for the caption. Everyone did a fantastic job, but of course there could have only been one winner. Twitter user Parifasimo was someone who not only drew Fred Flintstone, but looking through their works on Twitter and whatnot, they showed a great commitment to the art community, which is a great thing to have, and it's always nice to strive for improvement, better art, better interactions with people. Congrats again to not only them, but everyone else who joined, and if you want to keep up to date of when the second one, or even a secret contest might show up, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and subscribe to my second channel, where every month I produce something related to gaming. What feels more like a ROM hack than an actual sequel, Nintendo put it on a floppy disk, forgetting the fact that America doesn't have floppy disks in their NES. So if you want to see a little bit more of me, go there. Oh, but hold your horses. In the universe of the bike theft, what happened next? Well, let's find out.
My bike got stolen recently. I was pretty bummed out about it. But I think whoever stole it was probably more happy to get it than I am sad to lose it. The total happiness in the world increased, so whatever.